Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen und herzlich willkommen im Namen der Friedrich-Naumann-Stiftung für die Freiheit. Ich darf Sie herzlich willkommen heißen zu einem weiteren Termin unserer Reihe Frauen an der Spitze. Wir haben ein technisches Problem gehabt, deswegen haben wir ein paar Minuten verspätet gestartet. Das tut uns sehr leid. Es lag nicht an den Gästen aus Thailand, obwohl sie sozusagen von weit her zugeschaltet sind. Liegt die Technik im Moment oder das Problem eher bei uns. Ich hoffe, dass es jetzt funktioniert. Genau, also in unserer Reihe Frauen an der Spitze wollen wir Frauen vorstellen, die in ihren Heimatländern Führungspositionen innehaben in Politik und Wirtschaft und die Gesellschaft gestalten. Alle Gesellschaften sind wesentlich auch durch die Kategorie Geschlecht organisiert. Also nicht als einziges Bestimmendes, aber als eine wesentliche Kategorie, anhand derer sich entscheidet, welche Spielräume Menschen haben. Und wir als liberale Stiftung streben natürlich eine Gesellschaft an, die allen Menschen die gleichen Spielräume eröffnet, wissen aber, dass das noch nicht immer und überall der Fall ist oder eher überall nicht der Fall ist. Wir möchten daher unseren Fokus auf Frauen an der Spitze legen und Frauen vorstellen, die natürlich alle individuelle Persönlichkeiten sind und individuelle Entscheidungen treffen, aber eben nicht im Vakuum agieren, sondern in einem gesellschaftlichen Rahmen, der überall ein bisschen anders ist. Und indem wir mehr über den Werdegang erfahren und darüber, wie sie ihre Rolle und Verantwortung in der Gesellschaft sehen, gewinnen wir gleichzeitig Erkenntnisse über die Strukturen und die Gegebenheiten des Heimatlandes und eben die Handlungsspielräume, die offen stehen. Wir haben heute den Fokus auf Thailand, haben zwei großartige Frauen zu Gast, die die Moderatorin Britta Beck gleich vorstellen wird. Ich darf Sie noch schnell darauf hinweisen, dass Sie wie immer über die F&A-Funktion Fragen stellen können. Und das Interview oder der Talk wird ja auf Englisch geführt. Wenn Sie des Englischen nicht so gut mächtig sind, können Sie unten auf den kleinen Globus klicken, dolmetschen, und sich die Sprache auswählen, in der Sie es hören möchten. Es kann sein, wie gesagt, die technischen Probleme bezogen sich auf das Dolmetschen. Es kann sein, dass es im Lauf der Veranstaltung nochmal zu Problemen kommt. Aber wir hoffen jetzt einfach das Beste und starten. Und ich übergebe das Wort an Britta Beck.
Ja, wunderbar. Vielen Dank, Bettina. A warm welcome from my part. Welcome to our web talk dedicated to women in power in Thailand. I would like to start with Article 38 of the Thai Constitution, stating that all citizens should enjoy equal protection under the law, regardless of origin, sex, and religion. And in fact, Thai women were among the first in Asia to be granted voting rights in 1932. So a huge achievement for women in Thailand, I guess. But obviously, we are going to try to figure out whether there is a gap between theory and practice. So we are trying to find out in the course of our web talk whether women in Thailand are as visible and powerful as men. And I do suspect that there is a huge gap still, because whatever you try to find in terms of research is coming back telling us that Thai society, even in 2022, is still a patriarchal society where men hold power in economy and politics and wherever you look. So, and you can tell that I'm not completely wrong by two women nodding. I have seen our two Thai panelists nodding. So I guess we're on the right track to find out what is going on in Thai society when it comes to role and power play. I'm going to introduce our two wonderful guests from Thailand, and I'm going to start with Dr. Suntariya Muanpawong, a difficult name for German people. I hope somehow I managed to pronounce it correctly. Dr. Muanpawong is Vice Chief Justice, Court of Justice, Region 5 in Thailand, And the list of accolades is that long. So I can only try to summarize some bits and pieces to give you an idea of what Suntariya has already achieved in the course of her professional career. She has finished her Master of Law from Thammasat University and is a barrister at law. And she obtained a master and doctorate degree in public law from Münster University, Germany. So she's fluent in German, so we could easily continue in German, but no, we are continuing in English. Suntariya has joined various human rights programs held by international institutions. She has worked in juvenile and family courts, and she has been consistently engaged in the justice reform movement in the Thai society. And she's dreaming of democratizing the justice system in her country. I stop here and we try to find out later on. A warm welcome, Dr. Suntariya Muanpawong.
Thank you very much, Rita. Good morning,
Lovely.
Tanisara. Guten Morgen, meine Damen und Herren in Deutschland. Glücklich, dass ich hier bin. Dankeschön.
Lovely. We are happy to have you with us. I continue with Tanisara Ruande, as well, somehow pronounced like it should. She is the co-founder and CEO of Punch Up, a digital startup she founded in 2019 to create, and I quote, a meaningful conversation with data and design and story. It's somewhat cryptic, and I bet we are going to find out what this means, what Punch Up is doing. But you have been working on a digital front before. For example, you founded WeThis, which is a civic technology to empower people to reclaim an active role in political life. So it is civic education, right? You're very, very, very strong in it. As well, Tanisara has been working as a journalist, has been a writer in terms of lifestyle and travel, advertising agency. So many, many folders, creative, entrepreneurial aspects, and political too. We are very, very happy to have you with us. Welcome, Tanisara.
Hi, guten Morgen. It's the only German word I know. Sorry. And my pleasure to be here.
Lovely. So we are a little bit later, but our web talk will lead us until, I guess, 9:40 Middle European time. So we take our time to just try to figure out what is going on in Thai society and the role women are playing right now. Tanisara, let me start with you. Could you give us an idea of how are things going when it comes to female participation in Thai society? How traditional is Thai society still? How strong are women?
First of all, I think I cannot speak for all Thai women, but I can share from my experience what I see, because I am here. I was born here. I live here for over 3 decades. So I think I see something, and I have a chance to be in many industries, just like you introduced me. I was a journalist. I was in the media industry, and now I moved to tech industry and business industry, and also a little bit tapped into the political circle. So I observed something and I can share to you. I think according to the constitution that you mentioned at first, yes, we try to promote the equality of gender, of everything, of every person in our society. But in the real life, we need to accept that we cannot reach that goal, because if you have a chance to see some news during the past few months, we still debate about the same-sex marriage bill, and then that's still a hot issue in our country so far. But from my experience, now I would say I'm in between the tech industry and also media industry, because I do a studio that try to combine two science, the media practice and the tech and data practice, to combine to create a new product. And when I was tapped into the media field, I see a kind of diversity. We have a lot of women working in the news organization, in a creative agency, and not not only male and female, but also other gender like LGBTQ+. So because I think we need a creativity, we need a different ideas. So we accept and a lot of people with diversity. But in tech industry, it's quite hard to see female tech geek or the girls who can code in the tech industry. So when I step into the tech circle, I face a lot of guys. Actually, they are nice guys, but just for example, when you have a stage that discuss about the open data or technology, I always get invited, not just because I'm the first one, I'm the superstar, but because I'm a woman, and they want some women on the stage. That's the real things. And I try to analyze why the tech industry has so little women in there. Maybe because from the education area, in the faculty like computer science or computer engineer, not many girls apply for those faculty. So the results, the products from the education leads to less women in the tech industry. But if anyone has a chance to read the UNESCO report that try to research how many proportion for the movement in the the science, technology, and innovation industry, it increasing. I think during the past decade, it increasing. And now the research found that about 53% share of the female research working in the field of science, technology, and innovation. So I think we try to open more space for women in the tech industry. So I think we will see more emerging female leaders in this industry in the upcoming 10 years. I hope so. And I think another factor is maybe because the startup culture, they are more open. They no matter who they are or which genders they are, we welcome diversity, not only women but other gender as well. So we see the coming change in this industry. But if a little bit add on, because I see, I'm not a politician, but I work with many politicians and political parties, also the parliament, and I see a lot of data from them. Now in the national parliament, there is only 15% female in the parliament, in Thai parliament. So I think it's quite less than the average in South Asia, because if I don't mistake, it's about 20% for the Southeast Asia. And we have only one female prime minister in the history. Yes, that's the point, because and I see the data and see the graph. It's dramatically if you know a little bit background about Thailand, when the female prime minister in the position, there are more female entering the parliament. But after that, we have the coup, and we govern by the military, and then the status top down.
I get it.
Yes, yeah. So I think maybe it's because the military culture. Maybe Dr. Suntariya can add on, but I think maybe because of the patriarchy that you already mentioned, and also political life in Thailand needs kind of patronage system and also the connection. So if you know, someone who is military, you can go on this fast. So I think maybe that the effect of
Lovely. Thank you very much, Thanisaria. That was really interesting to just get a first take on how the situation is. Obviously, it is necessary to have role models. You need women in leadership position to just produce this pressure for more women to just get on in responsibility. So we are trying to dive into it a little bit deeper later on. Thank you very much, Thanisaria, for that. Suntariya, as a women in justice system, you have had your fair share of obstacles, I guess. Was it easy for you to just do what you did in the past and what you're still doing, or how was it? becoming justice, a part of the justice system in Thailand?
Yeah, thank you very much. I used to work in the Judicial Research Institute, and I think 10 years ago we tried to search for the fact about the statistics of women in our justice system, especially in the Court of Justice. So at that time, I think maybe 15 years ago, maybe we have like we had like 70% men, yeah. And now I think the number is rising, you know, of the women. So every year, right now, when we have a new new judge trainees, so I think now we have more women than men, you know, so this is good in our institution. Also, for the public prosecutor, the number is quite rising, yeah. However, in the justice sector, we have different departments, as you know. So we have like police, we have public prosecutor, we have probational department, or juvenile or correction departments. So it depends. But I think in general, yeah, the numbers of women, yeah, always rising, yeah, growing, yeah. However, in only some specific departments, such as the police, you know, maybe because of the educational system also, because the cadet academy. In the past, we had no female student for the police academy, and later we tried to initiate, and you know, like with I think great support from the UN Women and many women organizations. Later, so we could accept women as students in the police academy, but later. Finally, I don't know why they stopped having the female students, for example. So this is one of the cause. So it's not because of the professional institute, but it's because of the educational institute, for example. However, I think totally and in generally, so the role of the women seems to be better than before. You know, last year we just had the first female Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Yeah. And now today, this year, so we have the second one, you know. So this is like a symbol that the women could reach our goal, you know. And next year, we'll have like the first female attorney general. Yeah. Yeah. But I think maybe we need more than 10 years or maybe 100 years to have like a commander of the police. I mean, woman.
Yeah, but it's step by step, and these are milestones you're mentioning in terms of female achievement in Thai justice system. I mean, these are milestones. Yeah, you are. Yeah, lovely. But what about, I mean, you have been working with United Nations Women, especially trying to further the access of women when it comes to justice. I mean, in terms of equality, could you just elaborate a little bit on this? Because I think it's a vital strategic approach.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I conducted some research project on gender justice. I think this topic is the most difficult topic that I have done in my life, you know, because I have conducted many projects on juvenile justice. They are much more, you know, much easier, because when we talk about children, everyone loves children, you know, and we respect the rule that the best interest of the child must be respected. But when we talk about the rights of women, so what is the meaning of the rights of women? So some women love to have like the best interest of the women, you know, but many reject that. Many reject that because feminists believe that you don't need to pay respect most to women, but you must understand the nature of women. So this is difficult because when we have seminar or workshop now, and we ask maybe male judges and judgesses, no? And all men always say that, oh, we respect our wife, no? But this doesn't show that you understand, gender justice, no? Gender injustice is like an unseen problem, and it's difficult to explain. So I think we even the female judges, we finally accepted that even for the female lawyers or judges, we cannot understand the rights of women easily, because everything is sensitive. Everything is, not easy to be understood. I'd like to show some examples. Feminists talk a lot about consent in rape, sexual harassment case. When a man and a woman stay together in a secret place, and the woman was raped. So how she could prove how many evidences that she must show before the court that she was raped. This is difficult, So I think when we have like gender bias or prejudice, so many verdicts or judicial decisions. So we decided that if the women did not go directly and fast to the police, maybe she gave consent to the man, something like that, or when there's no fighting evidence, something like that. So I think many problems in the process of the court or the criminal justice, this is important, and it's not easy to make people understand. Thank you.
Yeah, I bet. Before we continue with Thanisara, I would like to encourage and invite our audience to participate with your questions, your comments. You're more than welcome. I will forward your question to our panelists. So please don't hesitate to give us your comments and thoughts. Thanisara, before we are trying to dive deeper a little bit in your business and your political ambitions, I would like to ask you, both of you are talking about Bangkok, an urban reality for women, which might be more inclusive, which might be more diverse than, for example, I bet rural Thailand, where stereotyped female roles might be much harder to break than in the capital, in an urban context. Is it? Am I right?
Yeah, I think, and actually, I wanna say that I'm born in Bangkok and live in Bangkok, so maybe I don't really understand in the suburban or in other district. But yes, I think because we live in the capital city, and mostly people we work with is in the urban area, and yes, that happens in the urban context.
Mm. So what is the reality for women in rural context, in a context far away from metropolitan life? I mean, is it still like living with stereotypes? I mean, mother nurturing role or female entrepreneurs? Are there any in rural contexts, or is it more an urban topic?
I think from the recent years, it happens in the rural context as well, because apart from the gender equality, we discuss with a lot of things that happens in the urban context and then need to spread to the rural context. For example, about elect their own governor. That just happened because now Bangkok have the governor election, but other district, other province want to elect their governor themselves, because now it's just appointed, not elected. So I think other the context like the gender equality or maybe gender justice, like Dr. Suntariya say, happens in the rural context as well. but maybe not have a kind of increasing rate like in the urban. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me add a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think we have a big gap between the rich and the poor, and maybe the people in big cities and in small or rural area. So this is we have like the vulnerability, the problem of vulnerability. This is like the basic structure or basic problem of Thai society. So, when maybe like a woman who is maybe minority from current ethnic group, and maybe she is poor also, maybe she is old, disabled, or too young, or and has no education, something like that. So I think the problem is not only because of her sex, Geschlecht, but it's like the problem of the intersectionality of the vulnerability. So this is the big problem that happened in Thailand. I got a question from the box, Q&A box, and one participant asked us about the role of the king's sister. We have Crown Prince or the Princess Surinton, and I think she is famous in Deutschland also. Yeah. The question is that she also helps the role to improve the role of the women in the rural areas or not. So I would like to say that she is like our role model also, she's like, she is interested in, education in, every branch of the development. So I think she tried hard to develop the social justice in Thailand, including try to empower the role of women, not only in the rural area, but around the country. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm just picking up the two questions coming from the audience. I would like to take on Gerhard Schneider's question, a question regarding marriages on the side, as I understand, in marriages which have been conducted in an informal way. He would like to know, what does that mean for Thai women in case of separation, custody of children, and financial support? So Daria, perhaps you could answer that.
Let me read his question clearly. Maybe Thanisara can add a little bit more. Yeah, then I would like to read. Thank you.
Anyhow, Gerd Schneider has been in Thailand, has made many insights of his stay there. It's about the situation of these informal marriages and the situation, the vulnerability of women who are part of these informal marriages.
Yeah, okay, I understand more clearly. So, normally, if you want your rights to be respected, you must have like a legal marriage, no? If not, so it's like you are a partner. However, actually, before court, if you earn some money together, all things can be equally separated. Yeah, but in practice, if you are poor, you don't have good, legal attorney, so sometimes you have problems. But actually, according to the law, even you have like informal marriage, you can be treated well and equally. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Another question Kinga is asking, do both parties have same opportunities to get custody? Are men and women equal when it comes to attribution of custody?
Yeah, from the family law, I think we copy your country's legal system also, no? But maybe personal law, our law might be like customary law prevails. However, I think now we have like the same system in German, in German law also. So it's mean by Scheidung, I mean separation, you can have a right to take care of your children. However, it doesn't mean that you must separate if you have two children, it doesn't mean that mama has one and papa has one. It depends on the many, conditions. For example, your proper, behavior or, income or your status, social status. So everything must be taken into consideration of the court, and the best interest of the child doesn't mean that the children must be only by their mother's side, it depends. Each case has different, condition. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanisara, let us, could you give us a glimpse of your entrepreneurial work? I understand that you're very much in this digital sector. What are you doing when it comes to Punch Up? What is it? What Punch Up is doing? Please give us an idea.
Okay. Maybe before I introduce Punch Up, maybe I add a little bit more on the latest question that Dr. Suntariya already answered, but that's in the legal term, but I want to share just a little bit in the cultural terms, because I work with some media who are quite communicate to the young generation. And there is one point that I'm quite interested in about this issue is a kind of non-monogamy concept that is debatable in our society, because in the past, I think if I think in a boomer generation, we need to be kind of monogamy. Is because of the legal terms also and the culture from the past. But now we kind of some people accept the concept of non-monogamy. That means you don't have to have only one partner, and if you consent that together. So it's still debatable in our countries because it kind of clash between the past generation and the young generation. But I think we haven't yet come to the conclusion which one is acceptable. But I think it's a good thing that happens in our society, not because of the clash, but because of the debate that happened, because we see a different diversity in this term. So just a little bit add on about, not a legal term, but in the cultural context that happens in our society. But we are quite new.
Yeah, so it's testament of diversity, this sort of debates and discussions. I mean, you're open to, obviously your society is moving in towards diversity and non-traditional role and family settings. I mean, it's exciting to be part of that. Thanisara, may I come back and just ask you about your digital work? I mean, this is you're on the forefront of new things happening when it comes to digital entrepreneurship, helping and supporting civic education. Give us an idea of what we are doing in Punch Up, in Weavis. We are curious to find out.
Okay. Let me explain maybe a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit hard to understand because this is a new thing that happens in Thailand, in Thai society as well, but not a new thing in the world because we observe some example actually in German or in US that happens, a kind of organization like this. Actually, I have a background in a journalist, and during the election period, the general election about 3 years ago, it happens that we have a lot of information because we under the coup for about 8 or 9 years. And then when the election happens, about 80 political parties apply and send over to 20,000 candidates for the latest election. So it's quite complicated. And we also adopt a new electoral system from German, the MP system to apply for the latest election. So for the Thai people, it's quite overwhelming and hard to understand. So I think I need a kind of platform or a tools that make those data more accessible and understandable. So that kind of the new voters or the one who used to vote but already forgot what happened when the last election happened need to understand all the data, all the information properly so they can make a decision on the election day. And then I started the kind of a pilot project to use to actually invite my friend who works in the data side, in the data designer and digital technology, and I also the journalist work together to create a kind of, we call it interactive data-driven website that try to create the way to make the people access those data more easily. And then it become a product that we call the data story, data visualization. And then it happens on the election day. And we have over 20 million Thai people access our website and use those information before and on the election day. So we think is kind of practical if we adopt this model to do in other topics. I mean, to make the people participate, understand the information, and make a decision in other areas like in education, in environment, in other aspects. So we found Punch Up about 2.5 years ago, and we do the project kind of commercially, but focus on the social issue. And with the same mission with the pilot project we do during the general election. But in the meantime, we want to keep a kind of empowering people to reclaim the active role like you introduced us. So we do other non-commercial projects and name it WeVis. Actually, it stands for We Visualize Data for Democracy. Yes, and use the same practice and do focusing only about the data that relating to political transparency and democracy. So that's what we do.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, it's a platform which is not only directed to women. Obviously, you want to help people access complex data. So it's a service to the whole population, not only women, right?
Yeah, with the whole population.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. And how is acceptance? I mean, 2.5 years of existence, Punch Up. Are people accepting this new digital platform?
I think I would say it's quite success for us, at least for our team and our partner who work together. Because at the first, I remember during the first 3 months, it's quite difficult, really difficult for our team, because first it's a new thing. People never says something like this in our society before. How can you convince them that please use this platform? It's gonna work, or for the partner or the client who pay for us, how can we guarantee its work? But fortunately, we have a success case from the pilot project during the election. And then we try to produce a lot of projects during the first year to prove that this is the idea that used for the future communication. And for the second year, we have already proved that it worked, and Thai people start to understand how to use this kind of platform and why we need the data to make a decision, to debate creatively in our society.
Okay, lovely. Suntariya, talking about empowerment of women, how closely connected are women in leadership? Are there networks? What can women do who would like to become more visible, more powerful? What can you do to empower yourself? What can you use in terms of public services? What is there around for women to become more powerful?
Yeah, as I studied in Germany, I joined once Deutsche Juristentag, no? In Berlin. So I appreciated that, in your country you have many meetings of, like professional, you respect the collaboration of people. However, when I came back to Thailand, I seek to see this kind of things also. For example, in the Philippines, they have also like an association of female judges, but in Thailand, we have not. In the past, we used to have like a female lawyers association, but it was like a long time ago inactive. So I think this is a kind of a good model that the people come together and fight for something together. However, although we don't have that kind of things, we have, like sometimes we try to develop our platform also. So although we don't have the female forum, but we have like good activists. For example, we have like the platform for activist judges who are interested in developing the human rights of the people, for example. So this platform is consisted, it's not only women, but men also work, and I have like good role model. Men judges, worked so hard to improve the rights of women. One justice, he decide a bench, a trial room, that the survivor from sexual harassment or from violence cases, the women who survivors, victims, could come to the court and without seeing the defendant. We have like a special room for them. So it's like they don't need to face each other or something like that. This was created by a man, So I think it's good that the people love to come together and try to improve the rights of men or women or children. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Thank you very much. There was a question from the audience regarding women in public positions such as unions. How visible are women in Thai society in these very prominent positions? How would you say? I mean, you are one, both of you. You're two prominent women in prominent positions. How many more are there around?
Yeah, I would like to talk a little bit about the female leader in the labor movement, because I think some questions about that. In the past, many men and women have fought very hard to improve the rights of women in the labor, industry, and I think the labor laws improve the rights of women, so they have good protection and safeguards, and many cases, as I was a judge in the Central Labor Court in Bangkok, so many women could bring the cases to the court, However, if you want to ask about the role of the labor union, I think in general, in our country, the labor union are not so well successful. I don't know why. Maybe many control from the government, or it's not the same situation as you have in your country. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, that obviously is an explanation. Thank you very much. Michael Geisler is wondering about ethnic minorities, and particularly ethnic minorities, women in Thai society. He is commenting that government oppresses many groups and denies their human and civil rights. Talking about women of ethnic minorities. Any thoughts, Thanisara, about that, please?
Maybe I think not only about the ethnical aspect, but we have a real kind of critical problem about human rights in our country now, not only in the urban area, but for even you are the one who think different from the government, we have a problem about the power as well. But if you mention about ethnic minority, I think yes, we have a problem for I think for 10 years, over 10 years, that they don't get a kind of the legally register, so they cannot access the social welfare, not any social welfare. And especially during the COVID-19, the coronavirus period, everyone should deserve their assistance from the government. But just because you don't have kind of the ID card, a national ID, or you cannot register in the system, you cannot afford those opportunity to get assistance from the government. That's still a problem. And I think it comes from so many different factors, like maybe Dr. Suntariya can add on. But I think one thing I can see, because I work on the data, because they're not kind of think about gathering the data about them, about the minorities. So that's a fundamental thing. If you know they exist, you can give your hand to help them. But the government, I don't know, maybe the system cannot afford to realize their existence. or maybe not to pay attention enough to realize they exist. So that's the fundamental problem, because if you know they exist, if you don't know they exist, you cannot giving a hand to them.
Yeah. So by visualizing the existence of, for example, ethnic minorities, I mean, you force the government to take a stance and to protect them. So this is, I guess, the strategical background of we visualize. I mean, you are pushing, pushing just by making accessible data, which the government might not want to be that accessible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we understand. So there's a lot of power in just visualizing data and making it accessible to the broader public. So yeah, wonderful. Suntariya, we've got another question, a very particular one in terms of Schutzhäuser for women, so protection facilities for women in distress, being, I guess, family and distress, violence, women in need to get out of a family structure which is not okay. Does the Thai social system offer any type of Schutzhäuser, this type of protection for women and their children in need?
Yeah. Thank you for the question. This is an important question. You know, when the many women had problem like domestic violence, now where should they go? Recently we established the Human Security Ministry. So this ministry is responsible to protect the rights of women and children and family, you know. So they, in the past, they have already like a children home, and so they expanded their work to have like house, protection house for women also. So this is a great thing that they have initiated. However, in practice, so how many houses in a province, that is a question, you know, because this problem, the violence against women can happen around the country, but we don't have this kind of house in every province, or sometimes when we have this, there are some limitations. For example, maybe the women can stay in a house only for 30 days or 60 days, and later she must find somewhere else, something like that. So this is one of the big things that I have heard. And also about the process to protect the women from the like criminal cases. That is a big problem right now, because after the court case, so when we found that the women had problem not only physically but mentally ill, how can we, where the judges can send them to be treated. Now, now we talk about the trauma-informed court, or many new treatments, innovation. However, the system to buy the justice system and the social security system is still, in problem, and we just started this thing. Thank you.
Yeah. So there's still a lot to improve in terms of shelter system and how to offer services, especially mental distress and trauma victims too. So yeah, but I bet you are pushing the system to just come up with solutions that are more effective than they are right now. I would like to use our last 10, 12 minutes to just dive a little deeper in terms of politics, because we are talking about empowerment of women. So politics obviously is the era, is the arena where women can get more visibility and more power to create opportunities for other women too. Thanisara and Suntariya, please give us your ideas and thoughts, because I know, Suntariya, for example, you are dreaming of a female party, a party of women in Thailand. Thanisara, I bet you are in this too, right? Give us your ideas, please.
Yeah. Kanisra, you can talk about some policies of some political parties right now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, I am running one project that we call it Promise Tracker to see which kind of political campaign about the political party that sit in the parliament now offer to us when the election happened 3 years ago, and if they can complete those missions. Maybe it's not only for the women, but also other gender that we kind to analyze the policy that relating to gender diversity. And we found that we now have 27 political parties in the parliament, and only 4 parties mention about the policy, about the gender welfare, about the fundamental welfare, or maybe about the sexual violence, sexual assault. I'm quite disappointed about that. But and as I mentioned from the beginning, that actually that something that happened is Thai cabinet just rejects same-sex marriage bill last month. Yeah. I think it's quite a serious setback for our society. But to give you a hope and also to us, I think we have a kind of a lot of activists, a lot of civil society, and a lot of academics that try to fight for that. Because in the past few years, you can see a lot of public forum or maybe a debate to or the campaign, political campaign that address to the political parties for the next coming election that they should care more about the gender equality. No matter you are the women or other gender LGBTQ+, we have a pride parade almost every quarter in our society, and not only in Bangkok, but in other areas. So I think the voice of the people become more loud and loud. So for the next election, they cannot listen to their voice. Yes, and I am the one who also signed. We have a online petition that proposed that can be proposed from the people. So we all have the campaign that letting people sign for the, if you agree for the petition about the same-sex marriage, gender equality. So I think we have a channel that we can put the people voice and participate in the political role. And we hope for the future is going to be better. And the one who always support this campaign and create a website, give the information to the people, run the workshop, and do this kind of campaign to make their voice heard to the public and also to the parliament. Yeah. So this is a thing. I hope it's gonna get better, and I think it's gonna get better.
You will keep on pushing.
Yeah.
So things get better. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Suntariya, what about your take on women in politics and your personal political ambition? Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Actually, as a judge, I try to make a change in our organization, and not only me, but I mean many active judges try to do so, and so we don't need to go directly into politics, but we can develop our politics in our organization. Especially we can democratize the work or our community. Yeah. However, we try hard. Actually, I learned a lot from German, experience, especially as I used to work with the Friedrich Naumann Foundation for many years. I learned a lot about a World Cafe technique, or how to have like a good dialogue among the different ideas, something like that. So I think if we try to change or make a change, we can try to democratize the system that we are facing with. However, faster, it must be from the center of the power. So maybe we can do it like in our routine job, but faster. I think the politicians or the active citizens must try to change the politics system, the political system also, because they are full of power, and they have all equipments, and this is the things that we need to share the cake, So I think so when I talk about the female political parties, so it means that because I think it was proven that many, active citizens are female. Many leaders of the NGOs or also social enterprise like Kun Thanisara has done. So I think many good women in leadership. So we are in every sector already. However, we never talk about the political party for women. So I think this must be very good. And now, the politics in Thailand under the uniform, is grows older and older, without innovation. So I think if women could take part in this, so we might give a big change in Thailand.
Yeah, talking about obstacles, I mean, when you keep on talking about the party for women, I mean, men in power should feel quite threatened. How do men react when you give them an idea of this female party or Thanisara, if you're pushing your digital ideas, and I mean, how do Thai men react? Do they support you, or do they try to stab you in the back?
I can start.
Yes,
actually, at the first place, it's not a kind of pushback, but I think they feel a little bit strange when, I mean, in the term of in the tech industry, when some women pop up, yes, they feel a little bit strange, and sometimes I think they're awkward because they have a new kind of idea that women can also do something like this. Yes, but maybe it's not a political way, but in Thai I also want a group like the Girls Who Code that happens in Europe and America, but not happen in Asia yet. So I dream about it as well, because we wanna be familiar in the tech industry, get familiar in the tech industry as well. But I don't think it's kind of a balance of power. But I think we should think in the term of respect. No matter what gender you are, we can work together. We can collaboration. We can hear each other. We can push something, the common idea, or we can debate the different ideas that we have. So I don't think it's a kind of different gender, but we need to respect. Just like Suntariya said at the first place, we don't need a kind of special trees because we are women, but maybe we need you to understand us, give a space for us, and don't use some idea that's like a patriarchy or something like that kind of suppress us because we are the women. Just respect because we are the human. Yeah.
Yeah. Suntariya, do you share Thanisara's view that there's no battle of sexes, but there is a common vision of the welfare of the Thai population, so each and everyone should work together? Is this your approach too?
Yeah, I think we must respect the rights of the men also. No? So actually, sometimes when we forget that, no? I myself used to be named as like a aggressive judge, or NGO judge or something like that. So somehow maybe I'm not so mindful enough that I'm too aggressive or too active. However, I think if we humbly work with men and we try to make them understand that we don't need the best interest of the women, but we just want the gender balance, and sometimes I think not only talking about the principle, but we need to let them understand the problems in detail. So sometimes when my friends, my colleagues, who are responsible for the rape cases, so I might ask them, no, if the victim, no, or survivors, no, are your daughter, you know. so it, you know, sometimes we need to tackle the problem with this sensitizing process, no, or technique, and sometimes it works, you know, because they always think as like observer, but sometimes when they are the real, you know, their interest is injured because of something also. So they must understand it so quite well, no? Yeah. So I think this is we try to. I am not hopeless, you know, but I think the challenge is that we need to find innovations, now to understand the problem and try to seek for, you know, the new technique, not to change the mind of the people, or because we work with their attitude, and it's the most difficult thing, that you want to change the attitude of the people, you know.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Suntariya. Thank you very much, Thanissara. That was really, really exciting to just get an idea of how Thai society is ticking. And I think our takeaway from today is gender balance is a huge thing in Thailand. You try to work together with men. There's no opposition in itself, but just work on the better and bigger welfare of the whole Thai nation. And we are fortunate enough to have got to know two wonderful, powerful women of Thai society, very different in your personas and personalities and the niche and the sectors where you're working. But we have an idea of how powerful the impact is both you, Thanissara, and Suntariya are doing to make the Thai society a better one, and especially for women. So thank you very much for being with us. Women in leadership position in Thailand. That was very exciting. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much to our audience and these very committed questions. Hope to see you soon, and we are more than curious to find out what the next thing in your personal careers will be. Thank you very much again. Please stay healthy and safe, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye-bye. Wiedersehen.
Bye.